Hello, everyone. My name is Crystal, and this week my teammate is Liza, and we are going to begin our working conference. So, our team name is Faith and Frameworks, and these slides are just so lovely, letting us know that even though we do instructional design and we may have lots of different things to focus on, even with having the pressure of working to do good work, not only for ourselves, but for our learners, we can always just have strong designs and quiet strength. So thank you, Liza, for creating this peaceful and engaging Canva slides deck for us this week.
You're welcome.
I'll begin with my log, and I just want to remind everyone, if you want to check out what Mary and I are working on with our wellness program, you can log in using this information here, and I will just demonstrate that to you. You'll copy, oopsie, you will copy this email address right here, paste it in here, and then you'll have to type out the actual password demo underscore access and then press enter. And here it is. You'll have the information right here. Click on the course and you'll be able to log in. I already did a walkthrough before, so I won't do that again today for the sake of time, but this is just a reminder for how to log into our course. Okay, so let's move on to my things that I focused on this week. So, of course, at the beginning of the week, I focused on the overview, looking at our Module 4 readings. And then I also decided to dive a little bit more into NSQ and the standards and just going through an actual video presentation of it. So I found this man and he had some really good just information and just a talk on how to create online courses that are meaningful. And I loved it because he is of age and he's just sharing what is beneficial not only for him, but what he's learned that is beneficial for all learners, no matter the age. And I found that very helpful in just looking at his presentation. And I slid down to the notes that I was taking from his YouTube presentation. So I just wanted to have that there if you would like to check it out. I also made an alignment list on Mod 4 where it begins with the technology information and how to integrate it. I wanted to actually take some time to see how my modules aligned with what was presented by Dr. Elwood. And so I decided to go ahead and do an alignment with the standards F and G to see how they were aligning with each one of my modules. So this is that document for that. And then I created a welcome video for module 2. And this time I made sure to have captions on. So there are quite a few videos that I create. Some have captions and some don't, but I wanted module 2 to have some captions. So I'll go ahead and play that for you so that you can hear it. It's rather short because we want to keep our videos short. And even though it's live, Liza, if you can't hear, just let me know and I'll start again. But we should be able to hear. Here we go.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to Module 2 of our Canvas course, Time and Wellness, Building a Purposeful Life. This week is all about daily rhythms and the power of time blocking, building structure without the stress. You'll download our weekly block planner and design your week around wellness, rest, and responsibilities, with spiritual practices that bring balance to your life. Share your rhythm with your small group and join our optional prayer check-ins. Then record a short video showing how faith shows up in your daily routine. This is about balance, embracing both structure and surrender. Find joy in designing your life with purpose. Let's get started.
Yay! Even though it seems so seamless and simple, and I love creating these videos. I like making videos from scratch, but I also like to use in video to make them. I always realize that if I am to get a good video, whether it's 30 seconds or 10 minutes or more, I have to go in and edit it. And this one was 30 seconds, so it didn't take me more than an hour to edit this video. And so that's just if you guys want to add videos to your modules, this is one way that you can do it. I really love doing it this way, and it makes the editing really easy and seamless. So that's our video for module two. I will add more videos in module two as I finish up the course. Now, some of the LTIs that were integrated. Oh, I didn't open that link. Oopsie. Here we go. All right, these are the LTIs that are integrated for my module two. Of course, we'll have Canva. Then I have set up a Google Meet. I'll show you that when I share my Canva slides with you. And then we'll have discussions. They'll do a video upload. The assignments are in Canvas. And so even though I'm integrating Nearpod in module one, and then I have some other integrations in module one, and Mary has other integrations in module three and four, we do not want to overwhelm the learner. This is supposed to be a peaceful experience and a class that teaches about peacefulness. And so we don't want them to be overwhelmed, but we do want to be creative in the process. All right. For my pilot testing, this is the email that is sent out to people who have agreed to be part of that next week. And we'll have more on that in the presentation for next week. I found this resource very helpful. Of course, all of the resources that are shared are really helpful, but I love a check sheet to just make sure that I have everything that I need in a course, making it a more meaningful experience. And my analytics report shows that, of course, we had some page views down this week, but we've had over 80 page views and people just going through the course and looking at the information. So that's been a wonderful experience to see that. We'll have more of analyzing the analytics a little bit later in my document here for your view later. I do want to just go ahead and show you a slideshow of the Canvas course because so that you can see it, seeing that I won't be sharing it from the actual Canvas Commons as I've shared up here, that the course is private at this moment. So let's take a look at the modules for, let's take a look at the slides for module two. So here we have the welcome page for module two. It's similar to the welcome page in module one because I want to keep everything very consistent. We have the objectives that the learners need to focus on in addition to the different steps that they will be taking. Module two is not yet completed, so I made some notes for myself. The information that's in red is where I want to add more details and add more information so that my learners can have a great experience and the course can flow very easily. So as you see, they need to complete each step in order. So they would click on, of course, introduction page, and then they will be taken to that page. Now, these are the pages that I created in my program for each of the modules because I wanted them to go to a specific page and not just an assignment, because I wanted to just be very detailed on the pages and add everything that was needed and just keep everything organized. So these are all the pages for module two. And then they would go to module 2.1. That's the introduction page. They'll watch the intro video that I just shared with you. And of course, they'll be able to download the Canva planner so that they can start their rhythms for the week. And then at the bottom of the page, they can move to the next step. I will also add to where they can go back to the welcome page if they would like. And I showed how I did that in last week's video. This is an example of what time blocking does. I worked with a client to create this for them. And this is just an example for the learners to be able to see what time blocking is about. Then we have module 2.2. This is where they're actually downloading the template and then filling in their own time blocks. I'll also add more information for them. They'll have a group discussion, and I have all the due dates for when things need to be done. And then we have a group link here. I created the link with Google Meets, even though we have done Zoom before. I just want to have the Google Meets link in to give people a time to try that. And of course, there's more things that I want to double check and create. And this is an optional meeting. Of course, we are collaborating my business with Mary and her school. And of course, that's a public school. So this is an optional section if they want to check in. If they don't want to check in, of course, there'll be a reflection form that they need to fill out and then send to me privately. Then we have the video reflection of them recording a video and uploading, how they're able to go through their week and how they're able to see the rhythms working out in their daily lives. And then, of course, a recap. I need to add another video and then explain how they can submit everything. So that pretty much ends my part of the presentation for this week and my time log. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to ask. I am very, very happy to answer any questions that you may have. Have a wonderful and peaceful day.
Thank you so much, Crystal.
You're welcome.
I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I really loved everything you've done. And we'll go over that later, I guess, all the celebrate and elevate. But right now, I'm going to come right here to my screen, and I'm going to share. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. All right, so let's dive in. This week, I covered quite a few topics. As you know, or as I've discussed in my previous videos, the course that we have is 3D panoramic imaging for the dental assisting student. So I do have my course opened up, and I want to go through a few of the things that we've touched on these areas shortly. But let's start with the beginning. So on Sunday, I invested a couple of hours reviewing and reading all course material for the week. And of course, I wanted to learn more about the rich content editor as an instructor. So I did, I was looking through a few videos online. So that's one of the things that I did. I explored Google Meet. Now, it's important to note that I considered, or my partner and I who are designing this course, Miss Angela Soto, we have considered adding a Teams link meeting. I'm not sure we can do it on the free, but we explored Google Meet because we wanted to add an option to have a meeting, even though this course is meant to be completely online. But we did look into it, and I do have my resources that I've used here in my links. Also, I reviewed how to add external LTIs like Flipgrid or Nearpod. Now, the only situation that I've encountered when I tried to add Nearpod, since it's Canvas free, it doesn't have the ability to add the app unless I was with an institution that, signed up, for a plan with Nearpod. Unfortunately, the free option did not give me that, so I had to find a way to add my Nearpod in, which I did. But I did a little more research into that. So I just wanted to look at a variety of different media supports, that would meet the standards. And it was really cool exploring all of those areas. On Tuesday, I was focusing more on Commons, basically, just Commons as a whole. And I spent about 3 hours exploring all of this, like really diving a little deeper into what Canvas Commons is. So I watched a few videos. The video that I really got a lot out of, I posted as a link. But, I learned it does support a wide range of files. I reflected on sharing things through Commons, how to keep things protected through Commons, and how to share content to Canvas Commons. So I have done that with our course. It is not completed yet, as of yet. We're still working on it, but it is a work in progress. On Wednesday, 3 hours were spent really focusing on analytics. So this is an interesting little tidbit. I joined the course for a classmate, Brianna Smoot and Juliana Gomez. So I had joined their course a while back in the beginning because I was interested in, what their course was all about. I joined as a student and I have explored it. So Brianna reached out to me and asked if I would be willing to, complete the course. So I decided, sure, why not? And in turn, they're completing our course. And this was just not something that I even thought of initially. But I thought it was a really good experience to experience the course through the lens of a learner, so I could identify strengths and potential areas of improvement. So I dedicated several hours to completing their assignments, participating in the discussions. And this is, some of the time that I spent. Key takeaways: viewing the course through the lens of a student highlighted the importance of clear organization and a logical module flow, which Brianna and Juliana did demonstrate. They had a lot of good discussion posts. Now, I feel like this sort of opened my eyes to my course. I have 2 discussion posts within my modules, but I wanted to dive a little deeper. So I read a little more about best practices for online discussions, and I included that as a link. Like I said, I only put the ones that I really like the most here inside my journal. So please click, if you want to check it out. Also, including a student feedback survey was great in their course. It gave learners a chance to share their experiences and suggestions. So it inspired me to add a similar feature for our Canvas course. And I use Google Forms. So here's my resource that I sort of researched about. So I did end up, adding that to our course after this. And I practiced using the analytics, really beforehand, before today, I decided to dive into that and how to access the course analytics in Canvas. So overall, their course was well structured, engaging. So I was a part of their analytic experience, and it reinforced my understanding of how course design choices really impact learner motivation. So I learned a lot just from doing that. I was able to dive a little deeper with my own course analytics. So I included a couple of screenshots of their course, of me sort of going through the course, what I see on my dashboard. This was the only course I joined. Like I said, I joined it a few weeks ago. So it was nice to go through it and see somebody else's perspective. So as I move on, let's talk about course analytics for our course, the Introduction to 3D Panoramic Imaging for Dental Assisting Students. So after all of that, I explored our course, our analytics. Right now, I only have one participant, which is Brianna. She served as a primary learner and she completed the course. So, she engaged fully. She had 100%. So it tells me that, she really understood what we'd given, all the assignments we'd given. So she 100% completed the modules. And since it was in a single day, so it's a short-term participation rather than extended learning patterns. We were not able to get that in this classroom setting right now for our course, because we're just kind of getting an idea of how analytics works. So I did capture some screenshots documenting progress and completion, and I want to share a little bit of that with you. This kind of gives, of course, I'm a student as well, because I go through them and read them to make sure like it's able to be completed. So I, went through and I completed a few of these assignments myself. And you can see Brianna is on here as well as the other primary student. And I have Crystal. Crystal is sneaking in on here too, so that's great. But primarily as far as completing it, Brianna has completed the course. So I included that and a couple of screenshots too. A couple of screenshots I included here were of what I saw when I went into the course analytics. So that was really interesting to see. As an instructor in my everyday life, I do sometimes peek in on the course analytics to see how things are going. My course is not primarily online. Mine is in person, so we don't really look too much at the course analytics because they're really just going on there to check for grades most of the time. But if I had an online course, this would be very handy. So moving on to Thursday, I spent a few hours. I focused on course evaluation, current and effective, just to see if I felt this was effective. I did find a couple of areas that were a little disorganized to me in my course or in my modules. So I did look at that course evaluation checklist. That was very helpful. I explored how feedback from analytics, peer review, and all of that can be integrated into continuous improvement cycle. So took a look at that. And I reflected on making sure I kept it current. So I made a few changes, after I took a look at that. Today, of course, I'm meeting with my partner Crystal this week. I did create the Canva slide deck, which I love creating Canva slide decks. And I just get this great joy from it. And I just wanted to include like faith and I don't know. I just really enjoy doing that. So we have that, and we're having our conference, and we're talking together, discussing ideas. So that's what we've done today. So actually, more hours than usual this week, which I'm surprised about. You really lose track when you're diving in. But if we come over to trying to come over to this area, and I want to go to the very top here. I want to go into this area. So this is what you see, just to kind of give you a review. When I would love everybody to enroll. This is why I only made it to where you can see the course if you enroll as a student, sort of to entice everyone to go and be a student. So you go to you become a student automatically. It gave me a special link. I do like the way Crystal did hers though, so that's something to think about. This one is a published course though, and I believe that Crystal mentioned hers is private at the moment. So that's why I did it like so, because of that. But if we go to the course, of course, I'm already a student. We have our introduction page. This sort of tells you how to navigate things. But when we jump into the modules, right here, I focused on module 1 and module 2. Like I said, I've made a few edits. Also, I added this end of course student survey. This is where I had the Google form. And this is probably something I need to work on a little more because I've had a little trouble with this link. But this has the Google form that I created. And on the first two modules, as you can see, the LTIs that I've included with this, I've done, the essentials quiz. I've also done a little something, first I started with the objectives, that telling you what we're actually going to cover. And then as we move on, I've moved on to our next activity, which is really where we're diving in. We're doing the Nearpod 3D panoramic activity where they have to watch the video, they get assessed, and then they have to study these images because I'm going to ask them to, study this. So when they move on in a little while, they'll have to actually label. So one of the things that I included in mine was the activity. We move forward here, the annotation tool that Canvas offers. So surprise, now you have to label it. So I've taken off the areas, but the student will go and they're actually given a list of what should be on this area. So they know what to do, but they're going to use the annotation. So that's another way to interact. As we move on, of course, we've got our discussion board with the rubric in here. And we do have Brianna, who's participated in this discussion. So while we don't have a lot of students quite yet, we are getting the ball rolling with analytics. So I really do like that. And then we have our final assessment quiz for this module. So that's just an idea of, how this is coming together. So the next module is actually very similar. So I just wanted to give you an idea of how we're forging ahead with that. I'm going to stop sharing. So that pretty much wraps up my adventure for the week. I learned a lot this week, and analytics was really at the forefront this week for me, just sort of navigating that, also being a student. So that was a learning experience as well. So I really appreciate that.
Great job, Liza. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you.